The news hits at 6 a.m. Trucker strikes. Fuel prices spike overnight. Grocery shelves stripped bare in hours. You stand in the middle of the aisle, staring at nothing but empty racks and price tags fluttering like ghosts. Your stomach sinks. You thought you had more time. You didn't. Listen, emergencies don't wait for payday. They don't care if you're planning to stock up next month. When it happens fast. And in that moment, the only thing between you and hunger is what you've already put away. That's why you start small. One extra can, one extra bag every time you shop. Because every jar you store now is one less meal you have to fight for later. Today, we're counting down 12 survival foods you must stockpile before it's too late. And item number 6, it's the one most people forget until it's already gone. Item 1, peanut butter. I was chatting with a friend last night. Her power went out for days after a storm. She had one jar of peanut butter sitting there untouched. That simple jar, it became the lifeline. Snack, energy shot, memory of comfort. Here's the truth. Unopened commercial peanut butter can stay good in your pantry for 6 to 9 months and in the fridge up to a year. Opened, around 2 to 3 months in the pantry, or extended to 6-9 months if refrigerated natural peanut butter, no stabilizers, has a shorter window. It's best chilled and used within a few months once opened. In a USDA-backed study, natural peanut butter stored at room temperature showed significant rancidity or off-taste after just 2 weeks. Only jars kept at 10 degrees stayed stable for up to 12 weeks. That's alarming. It means your peanut butter might be turning on you even before you notice. So next time you dip a spoon in and feel sand-like grit or detect a metallic scent, think twice. That's not just weird texture, it's a warning. Spoiled peanut butter won't just disappoint you, it could make you sick when you're counting on every bite. Ever tried a spoonful that feels like sand? Stick around, I've got a trick to make peanut butter last longer. Item 2, seeds. You walk into your kitchen and pause in front of that Ziploc bag of seeds. It's easy to skip past. But here's the thing, those tiny packets are tomorrow's dinner. Right now, the global organic seed market stands at over $5 billion and is growing fast, projected to double in the next decade. People are waking up to the power of seeds, not just for flavor, but for survival. Think about it. We've lost 75% of crop diversity since the 1900s. Most of us don't even notice until a crisis hits. Yet growing heirloom seeds isn't just about food, it's about hope. These varieties are rooted in local climates. They've adapted generation after generation. They bring resilience your supermarket can't match. Imagine this, grocery stores shut down, no fresh produce for weeks, but there's you with a few seed packets, a little soil, and the know-how to grow spinach, radishes, or squash right in your backyard, or even a windowsill. That's not fantasy, that's real self-reliance. Here's the kicker. Some survival seed kits claim a 15 to 25 year shelf life if you freeze them properly. Start small, one meaningful packet at a time. Learn what works in your climate. Those seeds, they're not just plant food, they're your insurance policy against empty shelves and uncertain times. Want a garden when there's no garden center? I've got you covered. Just wait for it. Item 3, coffee and tea. You gulp plain water again, each sip tastes uninspired. You think, I need something more. Enter coffee and tea, not just drinks, but emotional lifelines. In tough times, a warm cup becomes ritual, comfort, and, yes, barter gold. Here's something that'll hit you. Once grocery chains collapse or empty even a single packet of tea, it's like a jackpot. In disaster bartering lists, coffee and tea rank high as luxury items that lift spirits and command value. You won't believe how high. Past the barter value, there's real health behind the warmth. Tea and coffee bristle with antioxidants, polyphenols that shield your brain, mood, and even immunity. Green and white tea, they outshine black when it comes to protective punch. Let me take you to the trenches. When people stumble into chaos, calming routines keep their minds intact. Rescue faculties in survival training teach this. Brewing tea isn't indulgence, it flips panic into purpose. The act itself steadies you. Lights out, stores bare, but you, cradling a hot brew, survival's whisper in your hands, a comfort hit, a bargaining chip, a way to breathe again. Curious why a single packet of tea might be worth its weight in gold? I'll tell you in a bit. Item 4, liquor. A crisis strips life down to the essentials. Food, gear, safety. But there's one item quietly sitting in millions of cabinets that can mean more than calories or clean water. Liquor. In 2025, barter and trade forums exploded with a truth many overlook. Spirits hold value far beyond the glass. Distilled alcohol, stored right, doesn't expire. That means a bottle you buy today could still be worth its weight in supplies years from now. In Venezuela's economic collapse, whiskey and rum became unofficial currencies, traded for fuel, medicine, even security. The U.S. National Institute on Alcohol Abuse confirms spirits maintain potency indefinitely when sealed, making them one of the most reliable hard asset barter items you can own. Think about it. When the grid fails and supply chains stall, comfort becomes currency. A single bottle of bourbon can transform a desperate trade into a favorable one. Even if you never drink, having liquor on hand is a strategic move. Small bottles are even better, easy to carry, easy to trade, and often valued more in barter deals because they're accessible to more people. There's also the psychological impact. In survival psychology, morale is just as important as calories. Sharing a rare drink can de-escalate tension, secure alliances, or offer brief peace in chaos. That's not luxury, it's leverage. So check that dusty shelf. Those bottles aren't just extras. They're long-term, shelf-stable assets with the power to secure safety, trade for essentials, and keep hope alive. Ever wondered if that bottle you haven't touched in years could one day be your most valuable possession? The answer is yes. Item 5. Baking soda. A box barely bigger than your hand costs less than a cup of coffee. Yet, in the right moment, it's worth more than gold. Baking soda. In 2025, viral prepping forums and hashtag survival hacks posts keep coming back to this humble powder. Why? Because when supplies vanish, versatility wins. The U.S. Department of Agriculture lists sodium bicarbonate as safe for cleaning food surfaces, neutralizing odors, and even extending the shelf life of certain produce. It's food safe, non-toxic, and endlessly useful. Think about a blackout lasting weeks. Your soap is gone, your toothpaste is empty, your kitchen reeks because the fridge died. Baking soda steps in, scrubbing pans, freshening clothes, deodorizing a makeshift bathroom, even putting out small grease fires. A teaspoon in water can help clean fruits and vegetables when running water is questionable. In a pinch, mixed into a paste, it becomes toothpaste that keeps your mouth clean when every pharmacy shelf is empty. The scarcity factor is real. In disaster-hit regions, single boxes have sold for 5 times their normal price. During the 2020 lockdowns, online baking soda searches spiked over 400% as people realized how quickly it disappears from shelves when everyone grabs it at once. You might not think about it now, but when you're out of soap, toothpaste, and deodorant and the store's been closed for weeks, you'll remember that tiny, forgotten box you once passed by in the aisle, and you'll wish you had 10 of them. So next time you shop, grab an extra box. Store it. Forget it until the day you really, really need it. Stuck without soap? Wait until you hear what baking soda can do. Item 6. Powdered goods, long-lasting staples. In early 2025, USDA food security reports warned that powdered dairy and protein products were among the first to sell out in disaster-hit areas. The reason? Shelf life. Powdered milk stored in a cooled, dry place can last up to 20 years in sealed containers. Powdered eggs, 5 to 10 years. Powdered cheese, cocoa, even juice mixes. Each one is a lifeline when fresh options are gone. Think about it. A sudden supply chain collapse hits your city. No refrigerated trucks. No milk deliveries. The shelves are stripped in hours. Families with powdered goods, they keep making breakfast. They keep baking bread. They keep drinking something warm when the temperature drops at night. Powdered foods aren't just backup, they're survival comfort. Powdered cocoa turns boiled water into a morale booster. Powdered eggs mean protein without refrigeration. Juice powder can prevent vitamin deficiencies when fresh fruit is impossible to find. The Centers for Disease Control even lists fortified powdered milk as a reliable nutrient source in long-term emergencies. The scarcity factor is no joke. During past crises, prices for powdered milk have jumped by 300% on online marketplaces, and once it's gone, it's gone. Production takes time, and demand always outpaces supply. If you've ever woken up at 2 a.m. craving something familiar, milk for your coffee, eggs for the morning, you'll understand the quiet power of having these tucked away. One sealed can might sit untouched for years until the day it becomes the single most valuable item in your kitchen. Powdered milk at 2 a.m., you might just thank yourself. Item 7. Herbs and spices. According to the USDA, the average retail price of common spices like cinnamon and oregano rose 14% in 2024, and some imports like black pepper jumped more than 20% due to supply chain disruptions. Analysts warn 2025 could see even sharper increases if global transport costs keep climbing. When borders tighten or shipping halts, the little jars we take for granted vanish fast. In survival mode, food becomes fuel, but morale matters. Eating plain beans and rice every day crushes your spirit. Studies from the Journal of Food Quality show that taste variety directly affects appetite, mood, and even energy levels during extended emergencies. A pinch of garlic powder can make a bland stew taste like home. A dash of cinnamon can turn stored oats into comfort. Here's the difference. With no seasoning, emergency rations become a chore. With herbs and spices, they become a meal. That's not luxury, it's survival psychology. In fact, after the 2011 Japanese earthquake, aid groups began including seasoning packets in relief supplies because they saw morale improve when people had familiar flavors. Prices are already creeping up. A 1-pound bag of dried oregano that cost $8 last year now averages $10.50 online. In a year-long blackout or supply chain collapse, that same bag could be worth more than sugar or coffee, because flavor is rare when the world runs out of variety. Stocking up now means more than taste. It means keeping meals edible when options run thin. Is a pinch of cinnamon worth happiness? In the middle of a crisis, yes, every time. Item 8. Cooking grease and oils. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reports olive oil prices surged over 25% in 2024, the steepest annual increase in decades, driven by droughts in top-producing countries like Spain. Analysts warn that 2025 could bring further spikes if weather extremes continue. Bacon grease? That's not immune either. As pork production costs rise, even rendered fat is becoming a quietly valuable commodity in the prepping world. In an emergency, these aren't just cooking aids, they're calorie powerhouses. 1 tablespoon of olive oil delivers around 120 calories of energy-rich fat. Bacon grease? Similar numbers, but with added flavor that can transform even the blandest ration into something worth eating. Fat is essential in survival nutrition. It keeps you full, fuels your body, and helps your system absorb vitamins from stored foods. Think about the meals you'll face in a prolonged crisis. Rice, beans, canned vegetables. Without fat, they're dry, flat, and harder to digest. With fat, they're filling, flavorful, and morale boosting. And morale? That's survival gold. Here's the kicker. Properly stored, bacon grease lasts up to a year. Olive oil, sealed and kept cool, up to 2 years. In a grid-down scenario, these could be as precious as sugar or coffee. During WW2 rationing, families treated cooking fat like treasure, reusing every drop. Today's preppers are rediscovering that same mindset. Stock up while prices are still manageable. Store small bottles for trading and larger containers for your own supply. Because when the shelves go bare and the cold sets in, grease from breakfast really can fuel lunch, and maybe even your survival. Item 9. Hardtack reports show emergency food demand spikes dramatically whenever disaster strikes, and when everything fresh disappears, hardtack becomes a forgotten hero. This simple cracker, flour, water, salt, has outlived centuries. Producing it costs pennies, but stored right, it lasts 25 years or more. That's not myth, it's proven survival science. Hardtack kept buried in dry, airtight containers has survived from the Civil War, and even ancient Rome. Humans are still staring at those centuries-old biscuits, just not biting them. Let's talk cold hard facts, not romance. 1 piece of hardtack gives you 75 to 100 calories, mostly carbs, no protein punch, no flavor fireworks, but it gives you energy when nothing else will. Here's where the edge lies. Fresh food is fragile, hardtack isn't. No refrigeration, no panic when the power drops, no fridge raid when trucking stops. Your stash stays solid. You can soak it in broth or coffee, you can fry it in grease, or crumble it into soup when everything else smells like decay. This doesn't. And cost? 1 5-lb bag of flour might give you a week's worth of hardtack servings for an adult for under $2. That's about 4,600 calories per dollar versus 600 calories per dollar for most canned goods. You probably scroll past flour in the store. You don't think of bread, but that bag could be 25 years of backup. If you just make it, each square becomes an investment in survival. Hardened food, hardened future. That's why you don't stock up in a rush. You build it, store it, ignore it, and someday maybe rely on it. That's the truth of hardtack. Rock hard, calorie-packed, and reliable when everything else crumbles. 10. Comfort foods. The National Confectioners Association reported U.S. chocolate sales topping $23 billion on 2024, up nearly 12% from 2023, despite inflation hitting hard. Why? People cling to comfort even when costs rise. And cocoa prices? They've hit a 44-year high due to crop failures in West Africa. That means your favorite bar of chocolate might cost double in 2025. In a crisis, these aren't just snacks. They're psychological lifelines. 1 bite of chocolate in the middle of a freezing night can spark warmth, not just in your stomach, but in your spirit. A handful of candy, after a long day of rationed meals, can lift morale faster than any speech. History backs this up. During World War II, soldiers carried chocolate in their rations, not for the calories alone, but for the emotional boost. Prisoners of war used candy as currency. Communities traded sweets like gold. The reason is simple. When everything feels grim, small joys feel enormous. Now think ahead. In a prolonged emergency, your diet will likely shift to shelf-stable basics: rice, beans, canned vegetables. Necessary? Yes. Exciting? Not at all. That's where a stash of chocolate bars, hard candies, or even instant pudding mix changes the game. It's variety, it's flavor, it's hope in edible form. From a survival perspective, high-sugar treats also provide quick, dense energy. Sugar can keep your brain sharp when exhaustion hits. It can soothe kids in high-stress moments, calm tensions in a group, and yes, serve as a powerful barter item. A single candy bar could get you a favor, a tool, or even a meal when scarcity bites. The key is storage. Keep chocolate cool and sealed. Choose candies with long shelf lives: hard candy, mints, vacuum-sealed chocolate powder. Rotate stock before it spoils, but always keep a backup. Stock up now before the next price jump, because in the hard days ahead, you'll discover something powerful. Sometimes survival isn't just about calories. Sometimes it's about the one sweet bite that keeps you going. Item 11. Dried pet food. According to the American Pet Products Association, U.S. pet owners spent over $64 billion on pet food in 2024, a jump of nearly 12% from the year before. And it's not slowing. 2025 projections show prices could climb another 8 to 10% due to grain shortages, shipping costs, and higher meat prices. The truth? Your dog or cat's next meal could be as hard to find and as expensive as your own. Here's the part most people don't realize. Dried pet food, stored in ideal conditions, can stretch up to a year past its printed best buy date, but push it too far, and you're playing with mold, rancid fats, and dangerous nutrient loss. Dogs can't survive on empty calories, and cats, obligate carnivores, need specific amino acids like taurine that degrade over time. Miss those, and you could be looking at blindness, heart failure, or worse. In a crisis, your pet isn't just a pet. They're your alarm system, your morale booster, sometimes even your reason to keep pushing through the day. But stress, poor diet, and sudden ration changes can wreck their health faster than you think. During Hurricane Katrina, thousands of animals were lost, not only from flooding, but because their owners had no food to keep them alive once stores were stripped bare. The fix? Start now. Store kibble in airtight containers, preferably metal or food-grade plastic with oxygen absorbers. Keep it in a cool, dark place to slow down fat oxidation. Rotate stock like you do your own food. Aim for at least 3 months of fresh supply, plus backup vacuum-sealed rations for longer-term emergencies. Think of it this way. If prices jump another 10% next year and you buy now, you're not just saving money. You're locking in security for a family member who depends entirely on you. In a barter situation, quality pet food can even be traded for essentials because pet owners will give almost anything to feed their animals when shelves go empty. And here's something most survivalists miss. Pets underfed or fed poorly may turn aggressive, disobedient, or sick, creating a dangerous liability in already tense conditions. The best way to protect them and yourself is to make sure their diet stays consistent and nutrient-rich, even when the world outside your door is falling apart. The takeaway? Your dog's kibble isn't just pet food, it's survival insurance for one of your most loyal allies. Letting it run out or go bad isn't an option, because when the grid is down and the trucks have stopped rolling, you'll want to look into your dog's eyes and know they're safe, healthy, and ready to face the dark days ahead with you. 12. Catnip and catnip spray. According to the American Pet Products Association, pet ownership in the U.S. hit an all-time high in 2024, with 46.5 million households keeping cats. That's up nearly 10% from 2020. Alongside that surge, the cost of pet supplies, especially specialty items like catnip, rose by 18% last year alone. Supply chain disruptions and unpredictable harvests from major producing countries like Canada have made it clear even something as small as catnip isn't immune to scarcity. Now, in a survival scenario, your mind may be focused on food, water, and warmth, but if you're a cat owner, there's another pressing reality: keeping your feline calm and manageable when the world outside is in chaos. Stress in cats during emergencies isn't just a behavioral issue. It can cause illness, refusal to eat, or even injury. Dried catnip is more than a plaything. It's a natural stress reliever. Sealed tight, it can last up to 2 years. Open it, and you've got around 6 months of peak potency. Catnip spray? Even better for long-term storage, with many bottles lasting well past their printed expiration. The beauty here is efficiency. You only need a small spritz on a toy blanket or scratching post to transform a stressed, pacing cat into one that's rolling, purring, and burning off nervous energy. Consider this. During the 2020 lockdowns, Google searches for cat anxiety relief doubled. Imagine the next crisis: supply lines cut, shelves bare, and no guarantee when pet stores will restock. You'll wish you had stashed a few extra bags or bottles when they were easy to find and affordable. And here's where it gets practical. Catnip and catnip spray are barter gold for fellow pet owners. In a grid-down barter economy, comfort items for humans are valuable, but comfort items for pets, priceless to the right person. If you've ever seen someone's bond with their pet, you know they'd trade for it. Stock rotation is key. Keep a mix of dried and spray forms. Store dried catnip in airtight, light-proof containers away from heat. Keep sprays sealed and upright, ideally in a cool pantry. And don't overlook the emotional benefit to you. Seeing your cat calm and content can be a much-needed morale boost in dark times. When the power's out, tensions are high, and every member of your household, two-legged or four, is on edge, that tiny green herb could be the thing that restores peace. So don't wait for prices to spike again. Secure your stash now. Your cat's sanity, and maybe your own, could depend on it. When disaster strikes, survival isn't just about calories and shelter, it's about keeping every member of your family stable, safe, and sane. Including the ones who can't speak for themselves, your cat depends on you. And in a world where supplies vanish overnight, a small bag of catnip or a single spray bottle can mean the difference between panic and peace. So here's your move. Stock it now, store it right, and don't wait until it's too late. Because once it's gone, it's gone. If you found this tip valuable, make sure you hit subscribe, tap the bell so you never miss another survival secret, and share this video with every cat owner you know. The next crisis could be closer than you think. Be ready before it arrives.